Hello, I'm Robin Stamper, the Artistic Director for the Straz Center's Opera Tampa, here to talk about our 30th anniversary season. And I'm joined by an extraordinarily talented colleague of mine, Melissa Meisner, who is a wonderful singer and stage director and actress on top of it. We'd like to talk a little bit about the first opera in our main stage season, written by a composer, Benjamin Britten. First thing I'll say about that is Benjamin Britten was a rather prolific composer of opera, and opera companies all over the world perform his music rather frequently. But this is not just a premiere of the opera, The Turn of the Screw, but also our premiere of any Benjamin Britten opera. Now, I have some experience with Britten, and I believe you do too.
I do, yes. I learned how to read music with the Royal School of Church Music at St. John's Episcopal Church. And so we did all sorts of British music, British composers. So, of course, we did the Ceremony of Carols of Benjamin Britten, and I've sung
For two harps and
it's a
choir.
very
Yes,
cool
yes,
piece.
right, yes.
And actually, we did some of it during our COVID production, our Home for the Holidays outdoor production. We did some of the Benjamin Britten's music, and it is a bit, I would say, of an acquired taste, but I have acquired it. It is just really very interesting music. I actually got to direct and perform in Benjamin Britten's Noah's Flood, actually here locally and in Sarasota, and that also, again, it's exciting music. It's different. It's cool. It's interesting, and it's a little weird, which I love.
Well, and at times, though, it's very beautiful. It's like, Richard Strauss, his music, a lot of his operas are very chattery, but then when it gets to the really golden moments of sheer beauty, they're there.
Yes.
Definitely. And that holds true of The Turn of the Screw, which is based on the Henry James novel of the same title. And some people call it a horror novel. For me, I feel more like it's a ghost story, because when we think of horror, we think of slasher movies and, gore and guts and all of that kind of thing. But it's more of a ghost story, wouldn't you say?
It is a ghost story, and actually, the way Henry James wrote it, it was a serial novel. So you would you would get 2 or 3 chapters, and then have to wait a month until the next chapter. And so it created also a lot of mystery around the story, and I think the story is sort of a mystery too, because even as we see these things happening, we're not really sure if they're real or if they're hallucinations from the characters, right? So it's sort of both. Horror is the word of the literary genre, the Gothic horror of the 19th century, but I think you're right. It is more of that sort of ghost story tradition, that older tradition, and mystery too. It's very cool.
And what you say about, is this in somebody's imagination? That somebody would probably be the governess.
Right.
So the governess has been hired to take care of these 2 children. And she's a little wackadoo anyway, just to begin with. And it's interesting because Britten wrote this role for a soprano he engaged in several of his other operas, who was kind of a neurotic person to begin with. So she's a little neurotic, the character, as was the singer who premiered the role.
Oh, interesting.
So you get that from her. So you go through the whole opera and wondering, is what she's seeing real or not? And you never truly get an answer. Is she seeing these ghosts? Are they real? But they're portrayed as real characters on the stage. They're actually sung, but we just don't know if everything that we're seeing is in her imagination or not.
Yes, and so you continue to wonder about that even after the story is finished, right? You still sort of wonder, okay, what was that,
And even the set that we're renting portrays that, because the set looks like a giant jigsaw puzzle
Cool.
in there. And they talk a lot about labyrinths. And also games, because she teaches the children games. So there's a lot of ambiguity in there. What is a mental game? And musically, it's interesting too, because Britten wrote the music based on a series of fifths, both upward and then downward, inverted fifths, and it goes up and up and up from scene to scene to scene. There are 8 scenes in each act, and that tension of those key changes, which correspond with the story, is considered kind of the turning of the screw.
Oh, that is so cool.
Yeah.
I love that when composers are sort of interpreting the text and creating the music around that stuff that maybe as the listener, as an audience member, we would never even know
But
or
it's
notice.
But it's
Yes,
subliminal.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
So we're very, very excited.
And it's a small cast, but mighty.
And it's a chamber orchestra as well. So you really can hear all the individual instruments and their contributions musically to the goings on in the stage. The words of the story can only take us so far, but the way Benjamin Britten writes it, there's even more influence on the listener's imagination because of what they're hearing and the individual instruments that you hear from the chamber orchestra. So we don't want to give away the ending. I'm so very pleased to have here with us Susan Hellman-Spadafora, a dear friend and a beautiful soprano who has sung for Opera Tampa several times in the past. She is going to sing right now the Tower aria, the governess's aria from Turn of the Screw. The governess has been assigned to take care of the two children who live there. She's just arrived and describing how beautiful this place is. Of course, this is before all hell breaks loose. Well, I hope you enjoyed our little discussion. I certainly did. Melissa, delighted as always.
Thank you.
So please come see our 30th anniversary season, our season of Supernatural, and the tickets are on sale right now. See you at the opera.